All right, AP students, we are going to talk macro unit 1. So economic fundamentals, topics 1.1 and 1.2. We're going to go through the basics of economics. So my first question is, what do you think of when you think of economics? If you're like me, a lot of times I just think of money. I think of the stock market. I think of the news. But that's actually a very narrow definition of economics. Economics is the study of the allocation of scarce resources. Scarcity means you have to make a choice. You are choosing to listen to this right now when you could be watching TV, working on another class, working at a job, and that choice means you had to give something up. Economics is about the idea that every time you make a choice, you give something up. And that means scarcity exists no matter if you're Bill Gates or Jay-Z or me or you. You are making choices and giving up other opportunities. And that's what economics studies. So there's lots of branches of economics. Behavioral economics that looks at choices people make under different circumstances. There's microeconomics that looks at small business choices. Macroeconomics that looks at the choices that affect an entire country. Little quiz here. I want you to jot down whether you think it's true or false, and then we'll go over the answers. So first, because it is desirable, sunshine is scarce. So sunshine is something that we all enjoy, or I particularly enjoy it because my classroom has no windows, so I miss sunshine, and in my classroom it's not around. Sunshine is not scarce. It's desirable, but it's not limited. So assuming it's a sunny day, everyone can enjoy that sunshine equally. How about limited though? Because it is limited, polio is scarce. So polio only exists in a few parts of Central and Southern Asia for the most part at this time. So does that make it scarce because there's not very much of it? In this case, that would be false because polio is not desirable. No one's getting in line to catch that disease. Because water covers 3/4 of the Earth's surface and is renewable, it cannot be considered scarce. False again, you're probably noticing a pattern. Why? Well, drinkable water is scarce, and depending on where you live on the Earth, you may be pretty far from drinkable water or water at all. So water can be scarce because it's location dependent. And that's important because resources that are scarce for you may not be scarce for me. I may have plenty of ramen noodles in my cupboard and you may not have any. I may have lots of time after school that I have choices that I can make with. You may have time that's already taken up with other commitments. So what's scarce for one person may not be scarce for another. So everyone, depending on their unique situation, is going to face different choices. Not you think like an economist yet. So scarcity means something is desirable and limited. Resources are scarce, so you have to make choices. Because you give up something when you make choices, you face an opportunity cost. Every choice has an opportunity cost in economics. So basic economic principle, because of scarcity, every choice has an opportunity cost. So here, you're at Grits. Grits is open again. It's time to choose. What do you order for dessert? So these options, everything you could possibly order, are your trade-offs. So if you order the bread pudding, you're not going to order anything else. You have traded off all of the other items on the menu. So take a look at that dessert list and pick your dessert. They just come back and say, you know what? We just sold the last of your dessert, in my case, the bread pudding. Would you like to order something instead? Now, if you're like me, when I look at a dessert menu, I rank everything because I basically want one of everything except for the coconut because coconut is gross. I want one of everything. So I look and I take my second choice, which in this case happens to be the key lime cheesecake. So I choose the key lime cheesecake. That's my opportunity cost. So, we're in a world overwhelmed with choices, but typically, and at least in economics, you narrow it down to two things: the thing you choose and the one most likely thing you'd be doing instead. So right now, I could be working on some of the paperwork I've got to file for work. I could be spending time with my kids. I could be running to the grocery store. I could be participating in America's Next Top Model. Those are all my trade-offs. But the most likely thing I would be doing would be working on some of the work paperwork. So that's my opportunity cost. So trade-off is this wide menu of choices. Opportunity cost is this or that, the most likely second choice. That's what it costs you when you make that choice. Why do we look at opportunity cost rather than trade-offs? First off, to simplify. We're going to use some graphs and things to show what's going on. And second, to be more realistic. While people have unlimited choices, they typically do have one thing or the next best thing, and that really helps you focus on what it would cost you.